The fantasy football entourage for winning.
What up, entourage? Welcome back, or welcome if you're new to the channel and you like what you see. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe. That helps out the algorithm so I can keep producing these videos and bring you guys that heat. Well, we actually have an interesting waiver wire. You know, usually it's only a couple of players. I have to stretch to just make it work and make it worth a video. But today there's quite a few interesting names that you might want to acquire, especially since, we have some injuries, particularly to the running back position. We have a couple of running backs, but as always, we want to decipher what's real, what's not, right? All right, so let's get into it, guys. But first, I'm going to start off with an obvious one. I mean, if you follow my content, make sure you do. If you don't already, at Instagram, at Fantasy Football Rapper, I should say, on Instagram. And more importantly, Twitter at IamFFRapper, because I'm pretty much tweeting all day, any news, any interesting statistics, my own personal takes. So make sure you follow me, and you could see below how to find me on social media. Okay. Trey Lance. So Trey Lance, you guys know, it's not often I call a quarterback a potential league winner, but Trey Lance is exactly that, because like all league winning quarterbacks, he has that X factor, his legs. And then only a half a football game. It wasn't always pretty. It isn't always pretty with Jalen Hurts either, but Jalen Hurts right now is a top, 3 or 4 quarterback. And Trey Lance has that type of ceiling because of his legs, and he's even a better runner of the football than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts might be a little better passer, but I don't think it'll be long before Trey Lance surpasses him in that as well, because he is a more of a naturally gifted thrower. Jalen Hurts is a very hard worker. He kind of has those intangibles. I look at Jalen Hurts kind of like a Dak Prescott clone. Dak Prescott was pretty raw coming out of college, but he had those intangibles. He worked real hard, and now he's actually a really, really, really good passer as well. So that's what I look at Jalen Hurts like. But in the case of Trey Lance, who we're really talking about right now, he's more of a Patrick Mahomes. This kid could just flick of the wrist. But sometimes when you're so naturally gifted, that could get you in trouble, because you think you could squeeze it in the tightest windows, and he will get some of those, but don't be surprised if he has a couple interceptions, turnovers, a couple sloppy plays, fumbles. You're going to have to live with that. But at the end of the day, will the points be there? Yes. Does he have as much upside as anybody? Yes. So I would definitely, if you don't have him already, and that's why I say follow my Instagram. If you guys follow my Instagram, every Wednesday I do what's called a waiver leftovers piece. Players that I think will probably have made it through waivers and you could get for free. Because that's why I'm so picky with these waivers, guys. As oftentimes what I notice, and even players that I'm going to mention today, there's players the next day you could oftentimes get for free and still hold your waiver and just as good. That's why my rule of thumb is the only time I spend a waiver, I hold them for dear life. The only time I spend a waiver is if it's a potential league winner, and I'm willing to be wrong, because if you're right, it only takes one league winner. Guys, there's probably like 5 actual league winners, probably less, the whole year that come out of waivers or free agencies. So if you miss on every single waiver, but you get one of those 5 or 2 or 3, then it was worth all the ones you missed. That's why it's very important to forego maybe some immediate satisfaction with a player you could plug in on a bye week, depending on your record, of course, and go for that home run. Because if you hit, you're a genius. Your team's going to make the playoffs, probably a championship a lot of the times. But if you miss, okay, back to the drawing board. Eventually, you're going to hit one. But Trey Lance could definitely be one. And like I said, you could have got him last week for free, or maybe a lot of you guys, I've been telling you, if you have the bench spots, to hold them. However, with that said, Kyle Shanahan is being kind of a knucklehead, and Jimmy Garoppolo has not been ruled out, but we could only hope that we see a Trey Lance sighting. All right. All right. So my next person is another quarterback. Sam Darnold. Did you know Sam Darnold right now is a top 5 quarterback? Top 5 quarterback. And he leads the league in rushing. Are you kidding me? Yes, Sam Darnold. He was another one of my sleepers. Again, Sam Darnold was and I got him in my 2 QB league, my big money league. He was like a cheat code. If you wanted to stack up other positions, I was like, yo, you guys can wait on quarterback. And you could have got him a lot of leagues. I got him as my 3rd quarterback because I selected Trey Lance number 2 in a 2 QB, or I should say super flex league. So he was the perfect quarterback to wait on. Guys, you could only be so bad when CMC, even though he's hurt now, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall, Joe Brady's your coordinator. All right. And he's still available for you to grab. So if you have Kirk Cousins, if you had Tannehill, I don't know, some people got Matt Ryan, depending how deep your league is. Sam Darnold is a good play because of the reasons I aforementioned. And this rushing stuff, I don't know where that came from. I mean, he's an underrated athlete. Like, I've seen him have those glimpses, but let's face it, guys, that is not going to continue. But hopefully if you have them, you've enjoyed the fruits of your labor. If you don't have them, depending on what your QB situation is like, he might be worth an ad. Okay. Number 3. Now, this is what everybody kind of like is on board with, but I'm kind of a little bit apprehensive. So every thumbnail you see Damian Williams. I wasn't even sure I was going to include him in the video. That's how not sold I am on Damian Williams. I'm just not. Somebody in the Facebook group asked me today, would you blow your whole budget on Damian Williams? I'm a Montgomery owner. You being a Montgomery owner has nothing to do with you picking up his backup. Just doesn't. If there's another player that's better, then why would you pick up just because you're a Montgomery owner? Look, not all starting running backs are built the same. Look at Michael Carter. He had his first touchdown last year, but he hasn't done it. That was his first game over 10 points, and he's their leading back. There's a lot of leading backs that are just not that good. Now, is he worth a waiver? I guess it depends on your situation. But if you think, like, everybody was super high on Chuba Herbert this past week on DFS and season long. I was not. I faded him. I didn't play him in one DFS lineup. And I was told you guys, just because the backup becomes a starter doesn't mean the backup is as good or even remotely close to the starter. And that is the case with Chuba Herbert. That came out weird. That is the case with Hubbard. And that's also the case with Damian Williams. I'm not impressed that you were able to do something against the Detroit Lions. It's the same reason I told you guys. Forget about Elijah Mitchell. It's the same situation. Elijah Mitchell had a great game against the Lions. Aaron Jones dropped 40 on them. David Montgomery had 2 touchdowns in a quarter. Do you see the pattern here? The Lions are not good. It's not a fair indication of how a player is going to be. And we thought Chuba Hubbard was good. He was going to get all the touches, which he did. Dallas was not a particularly fierce opponent, and he clunked. And I think a similar situation is very, very possible, if not likely, with Damian Williams. He's going to get all the touches, presumably, against a defense that's not really that good, Las Vegas. But I could definitely see him clunking. Damian Williams never averaged more than 4 yards per carry until he got with the Chiefs. He was an undrafted rookie. Okay? And he missed all of last year. Oh, and by the way, he's on arguably the worst offense in the National Football League with a horrible offensive line, playing a team that's coming off a pretty embarrassing loss to their division rival or a former in-state rival. Okay? So, if he puts up a game like Chuba Hubbard, I think had like 7-8 points, was he worth a number 1 waiver? And that's the potential against a good matchup. What is he going to do against a tough matchup? So that's why I say it's like, I don't consider him a must-add, even if you're a Montgomery owner. I guess if you want to, I could be wrong, but I just don't see the hype. I think it would be better to get Khalil Herbert, their rookie, because I don't see Damian Harris being a workhorse either. I don't see him being the type to just get all the touches. He already got dinged up that last game. Supposedly it's a thigh contusion or something like that. He should play, shouldn't stop him, but you never know. And who knows? Khalil Herbert might be the better back if he's in a committee. But yeah, Damian Williams, again, if you really, really need a body at running back, fine, but I would definitely temper expectations. There's some huge buzz potential. Now, if you want a running back, I actually prefer Kenny Gainwell and Latavius Murray. But Kenny Gainwell is definitely by far. I mean, I've been talking Gainwell all off season, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, like every single week. I can't believe he's still on the waiver wire. What does this guy have to do to gain somebody's respect? He's RB25 through 4 weeks. He has 11 more points than Miles Sanders, I believe. Maybe he has 11 less points than Alvin Kamara, but he's definitely got more points than Miles Sanders, okay? So he's already better than the starter, or at least producing better than the starter. Definitely a better pass catcher. They're not giving Miles Sanders any carries. And he had his season-high 40% snap share, trending up. And he's a talent. I'd rather Kenny Gainwell than Damian Williams, like 10 out of 10. Like, if they're both available and you got the number 1 pick, like, it's not even close. Even though I know Damian Williams is the presumed starter and should get more touches, I do think touches and snap share is overrated. If you don't believe me, look at Cordell Patterson. There's a thing to be said for efficient guys. Now, you do want to follow the volume because obviously the more opportunities you get, but I wouldn't make that the end-all, be-all either, okay? So definitely I like Kenny Gainwell. And then even over Damian Williams, I prefer Latavius Murray. Now, Latavius Murray's risky, but so is Damian Williams. They're just risky in a different way. It seems like Baltimore has got a spinning carousel going on at running back. A lot of that's due to injury. I thought Tyson Williams looked pretty good, but what they try to do was a healthy scratch. Didn't make sense, okay? Latavius Murray has been trending up, but they also played Le'Veon Bell, who had, I believe, like 28% of the snaps. And then Devontae Freeman, he's somewhere in the mix. So it's a little more risky. So why do I like Latavius Murray most? Well, for all we know right now, he's a lead back. He's the lead back, and it's a better offense. Plain and simple. Like I said, the Bears are atrocious. Offensively, their defense is a little shaky. They're banged up right now. We don't know which defense is going to show up, especially if they're on the road. I haven't checked the schedule. But I still prefer Latavius Murray, given he's in a better offense. The talent, he's probably even a better talent, at least similar. And they're just as risky. I'd rather go with the better offense. Okay, and I think he could provide the safe. I think he could also provide the safer floor, being that he's in that offense as well. Okay, but definitely Gainwell overall, because Gainwell I feel like could be. I mean, he has a tough matchup. I did see that Gainwell is going to play Carolina. Carolina is going to be pissed, so the matchup's not there. But because he's a pass catching back, maybe that might favor him. Who knows? But I still think his risk is just as much as Latavius Murray or Damian Williams, and he could be. I don't know if Kenny Gainwell is a potential league winner. I still think he'll be a complimentary back, but he could be a staple, potential every week starter for you. And who knows? Maybe he could be a league winner. All right. Nyheim Hines, one of these years, was like a borderline. He was like a high RB2, and he's playing the exact same role for the exact same coach that was the offensive coordinator for Nyheim Hines. All right. And Sanders, he ain't JT. Next up, Hunter Renfro. Don't look now. Wide receiver 21, and he's been consistent. Hunter Renfro is basically Cole Beasley 2.0. Brian Edwards, they don't even look for him until like 2 minutes left of the fourth quarter. I don't know what is up with that. Henry Ruggs, he's their deep threat. Darren Waller has the attention of the defense. They can't all go to Henry Waller or Darren Waller, right? Their running game sucks. Jacobs averaged less than 4 yards per carry last season. Doesn't look like he's off to a better start this season. So they're a throwing offense. They can't always go to the tight end. He's the guy Derek Carr trusts. He's that safety blanket, and he could tackle, right? Third and Renfro, Renfro end zone. He had a touchdown yesterday. So I definitely like Hunter Renfro. He's proven it. When he's given the opportunity, he produces. So he could be kind of like a every week wide receiver 3. I mean, he's currently a wide receiver 2, flex, and right now he's still available in almost 50% of leagues, which is awesome. Next up, a lot of players. I told you guys, surprisingly. Next up is Van Jefferson. Again, guys, what do I go by? If you have my premium content, say premium in the chat, because you guys could attest to this. Every week, Van Jefferson has been on. Because what I do, here's the difference between this video and the premium content. The premium content kind of keeps you weeks ahead. Because I think my number one attribute as an analyst, I think I'm a heck of a talent evaluator. I think I have an awesome eye. I think my flaws, I have a happy trigger. Because I have an awesome eye, I tend to fall in love very quickly. And I get rid of players very quickly. So sometimes that backfires on me. So I'm aware of my flaws. I'm aware of my strengths. Okay. Van Jefferson is somebody I even talked about in the offseason. Why? Because, again, I actually do analysis. I said, okay, this guy looks the part. He's tall. He's super fast. Schematically, he fits perfect in that offense because what do they like? Tall. He's like a clone between Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. More like Robert Woods in the physical sense that he's fast, he's tall, he's kind of lanky, but he's very smart like Cooper Kupp. And I was like, well, I'm not worried about Deshaun Jackson. He gets injured all the time. I'm not worried about this little special teamers they drafted in the second round, which I thought was a waste of a pick. And I knew this was going to be a throwing offense. And yeah, second-year player in McVay's offense, had a full offseason, right? And it's not surprising to me. I said I was one of the few analysts. I said Cooper Kupp over Robert Woods, like not a doubt, right? I don't think there's that much of a difference in talent between Van Jefferson and Cooper Kupp. And I saw the first game he had a touchdown. The last 2 weeks he has 6 targets. This last week he caught all 6 of them for 90 yards and a touchdown. So Van Jefferson is legit. Remember, I like getting good players. Van Jefferson has the potential to be an every week flex, maybe wide receiver 3. We'll see. And right now he's free. Or now you're going to have to spend a waiver, but a lot of you guys, he's been on your roster. So, and that's what the premium content does. I go down not only the list of waivers, but players that you should be on the lookout for that might become relevant. He was one of those players, and now so basically what you're getting with the premium content is future waivers, but we get them ahead of time at Entourage. All right. But definitely Van Jefferson. Love the talent. Perfect system. They're going to throw a lot. Darnell Mooney. He's another player I've been mentioning quite a bit. He's the leader in targets, had somewhat of a breakout game, you could say. 5 catches, 125 yards. And again, he's a leader in targets. Follow the volume. Now, I did say volume is sometimes overrated. It is, because it depends on the offense. Chicago Bears, not a great offense, but he does have the potential to have games like this with bye weeks coming up, with injuries. Darnell Mooney is worth a roster spot because he's got the volume, he's got the talent. The one thing he's missing is kind of the offense and the quarterback. Who knows? Maybe, Andy Dalton will be at least decent. He has been able to make fantasy receivers relevant in the past. Maybe Justin Fields, he starts getting it together. He did have a decent game with Justin Fields, even though it was against Detroit. But Darnell Mooney, none of the nonetheless is worth a roster spot. JD McKissick. It looked like Antonio Gibson got banged up there at the end. He's looked really good, man. It's really weird. I was definitely not on a McKissick bandwagon because I remember JD McKissick when he played for Seattle and he literally got injured like every single game. And for the first couple years was just non-existent. And finally they cut him because they got sick of him. But I guess in spot duty, they haven't been asking too much of him. He's looked really good. Again, he's looked really explosive, very good pass catcher, very good receiving back. And I'm not sure what's going on with Antonio Gibson. I haven't heard nothing, so I'm going to assume he's okay. Nonetheless, if something happens to Gibson, McKissick could be a thing. Even with Gibson, he's produced 2 double-digit games. Of course, that's going to depend more on game flow, but the fact that he's looked good, the fact that Antonio Gibson's kind of been dinged up the last couple of weeks, even coming into this past game, he was on the injury report, then I would say McKissick for those reasons. And just in case this injury that he suffered last week is of any significance, you want to have JD McKissick on your roster. All right. And then last but not least, I went over Latavius Murray, kind of meshed him with Kenny Gainwell. But last but not least, Dalton Schultz. Another player that's been on my premium content. Follow the volume, especially on potent offenses. All right. So Dalton Schultz, another 8-target game. And right now, believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, which by the way, Dalton Schultz was a tight end 1 before Dak got injured last season. Okay. So it's not like this is totally out of the blue, and looks like he's running away because remember we didn't know if it was going to be Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz. It looks like Dalton Schultz is becoming the clear TE1 on a potent offense, getting targets because it's a throwing offense and they're running the ball too. Seems like he has a real chemistry with Dak. Remember, he's going to get a lot of good looks. So I'd rather have a tight end on a potent offense than, one that's not on a potent offense, obviously, and he's still available. So Dalton Schultz is a must grab, especially the way tight ends have looked this year. So there you have it. Just a quick recap. If you're just tuning in, number 1, Trey Lance. Number 2, Sam Darnold. Number 3, Damian Williams, but proceed with caution. Number 4, love me Kenny Gainwell, favorite running back in waivers. Number 5, Hunter, 3rd, and Renfro, new Beasley. He's wide receiver 21 right now. Van Jefferson, talent over everything. Perfect example. Darnell Mooney, another talent that leaves the bear in targets. Number 8, JD McKissick. Want to have some insurance for Antonio Gibson, and he's look good when given the opportunity. Number 9, Dalton Schultz, wide receiver or TE3 in fantasy. And number 10, Latavius Murray, just because right now he is the lead back on a good offense that likes to run the football. And I prefer him and Gainwell over Damian Williams. Maybe not McKissick, but definitely those two. And possibly even McKissick, only if Antonio Gibson's injured. Now, like I usually do towards the end of the video. Oh, real quick too, before you guys leave, I'm running a special on the premium content. $15. That's it, guys. $15, and you get the full list. All these players have been on my list pretty much since week 1, by the way. So you would have been weeks ahead. You get the full list of free agent finds and waiver gems. You get the complete list of buy, sell, hold, your trade targets. Rankings. No other analyst does that. I come out with my rankings Thursday. I update them after all the practice report, all the injury reports, Saturday evening. I spend my Saturday evening doing rankings for you guys, all for $15 rest of the year. Okay. Not only that, Facebook group. This is the pinnacle, guys. No other analyst does this. I guarantee all your questions be answered, roster evaluations, trade questions, and you get exclusive lives every Saturday morning with me. It's only $50 for the whole season, and it includes the premium content. So you get all that for $50, guys. Only 20 spots I'm doing for that because then it gets too much after that. So definitely DM me at Fantasy Football Rapper on Instagram if you're interested in that, or you could comment. And even better yet, if you guys comment on this video, comment premium on this video when it's done, okay? Or And comment on the next video tomorrow. Buy, sell, hold. When I come out with my new rankings, I'm going to give a lucky winner the premium content for the rest of the year. So all you got to do is comment premium on this video, premium on the next one. And then Thursday, when I come out with my rankings, I'll pick one lucky winner, and you guys will have premium content for the rest of the year. Now, the floor is yours. Let's go. Listening in class. Shanahan sounds like Nagy lately. Yeah, I feel that. I went to high school with Damian Williams. Well, sorry. I think he's done great for what he's been given. He was an undrafted free agent. For him to play all the way up to the age of 29 is amazing. And he's looked amazing at times. But again, it has more to do. If he was on the Chiefs, I'd feel differently. But on the Bears, what up, Tone? Lamb hurt me in one of my leagues, but he still got the volume. Lamb will be all right, guys. You know, even Tyreek had 2 bad weeks in a row. Burn your waiver on Trey Lance. I mean, you should have had Trey Lance, but yeah, I think so. He's worth it. Of course, it depends on your roster and stuff, but you know, move on from Komet. Yeah, I mean, I've moved on from. Well, I think I still got him in one of my leagues, but I don't know. I mean, Komet for Usman Zada or Max Williams. I would do Komet for Knox or Schultz, obviously, but I don't know. Usman, I mean, sure, what the heck? I don't know if that's going to be your answer. Their floors, but Knox just seems to be at his floor every week. So maybe at least if these guys clunk for you, if you keep starting them, then you'll get one of these weeks that they've had. But I don't think either one is a long-term answer. Yeah, don't add Ushma. Yeah, he's not on my list. I went 5-0 this week thanks to your advice. That's what's up, Domingo. That's what I like to hear. I went 4-1 myself, so I'm feeling good as well. What are your thoughts on Mike Davis and Michael Carter? Mike Davis seems to be going down. Wayne Gallman finally got in the game. We know what Cordell Patterson has done, so I'm not a fan of Mike Davis. If you could get him for free on a waiver for whatever, you could take a shot, but I don't necessarily feel good about it. Michael Carter, you know, Jets offense is a mess. Finally scored his first touchdown. I definitely think he's worth a waiver. I would pick him up. I guess he's probably owned in less than 50% of leagues. So actually, he would have made the video. That was an oversight on my part. If Michael Carter is available, I think Michael Carter is worth a waiver ad. Actually, I think Michael Carter is worth a waiver ad over Damian Williams, Latavius Murray. Probably anybody. It's debatable between him and Kenny Gainwell. Maybe give Gainwell the slight edge, but Michael Carter would be second. Would you drop Ayuk, Pittman, Rondell Moore, or Laviska for Kenny Gainwell? Definitely Rondell Moore. Do I trade Chris Carson for DJ Moore? That's a no-brainer. He has Monty and Mixon out. I have a hole at running back, but could plug in Damian Harris for the next few weeks. Yeah, I like that for you, just because he's just a better player. Hold on to Brian Edwards. I think Brian Edwards is droppable right now. Of course, you want to get some. You want to make sure it's somebody better, but yeah, I'd say Brian Edwards is droppable. Would you drop Tannehill or Cousins to pick up Darnold? If yes, which one would you drop? I would drop Tannehill. What else? Let me know. Because if not, I'm going to go. Any last questions? Kick a flow. Here we go. Is your boy, Berto, the fantasy rapper, here live. Everybody, let's go. Let's ride. No Knox or Schultz. I'm a free agent. I'm in a 14-team league. Any deep suggestions? Deep suggestions. Deep suggestions. Conklin. I mean, probably the guys you said, Mac. You know, I would have to. It's going to be a situation where you're going to have to stream a tight end. again, I haven't looked at the matchups yet, but that's what it's going to come down to, basically. So you want to get a tight end with a good matchup, with a game that has the potential to be high scoring. That would be the way to go, because neither one of them are just a set it and forget it tight end. So that would be my advice to you. And then maybe see if Dalton's starting, because maybe you might want to start Cole Kmet. Actually, I'll go as far as saying, if Cole Kmet, since he's playing Las Vegas, they're bad against tight ends. We saw what Cook looked pretty good against them last night, right? And they traditionally be bad. So then if Andy Dalton is a starter, I don't think Cole Kmet is any worse than Ushmanzada or Max Williams. Collins worth a pickup? Carter or Perrine? Definitely Carter. Who's Collins? Would you drop Claypool for Van Jefferson? No, I wouldn't do that. Let's not go that far. If that's the weakest person on your team, then, man, you have a good team. What's your thoughts on Callaway? Are you still up on him? Yeah. Callaway, I mean, he scored a touchdown 2 weeks ago on Bradbury. He was still the leading receiver. He's not – I wouldn't drop him, put it like that. I think there'll be better weeks to come. Beginning this week, I think they play Washington. It's a great matchup. Washington's secondary has been a mess. Oh, Alex Collins, Seattle. All right, guys. All right, so you guys are kind of messing me up here. So you just asked a very, very, very good question. And it's such a good question that I'm going to give myself away. He was actually going to be my waiver leftover tomorrow. So every week, remember to tell you, I actually love Alex Collins. And I know nobody's talking about him, so I didn't really need to include him in the waivers. Just like last week, nobody was talking about Trey Lance. I included him. But I like Alex Collins probably more than any of these guys, possibly. Here's why. I've never been a Carson fan. That's number one. I just told you to trade him away. But either way, for DJ Moore, that's a no-brainer. But Carson just seems to be running out of favor in Seattle. And Alex Collins, remember what I tell you guys? I like players on the uptrend. And Alex Collins just keeps getting a little more playing time. He's doing more. He looked good. Very, very underrated pass catcher as well. And if Carson does what he does every year, get injured, he could be a potential league winner. Now, of course, he's got some injury history himself, but I think it was just one major injury to just lag for 2 years. So we'll see. There's obvious risk. But compared to our options, Alex Collins and Gainwell will be my favorites. I just didn't include him in the video because I just mentioned to you, nobody's talking about him, and most of you guys could probably get him for free tomorrow. And I need to have something to do tomorrow for my waiver leftover, but that's going to be my waiver leftover. So the cat is out of the bag for those of you that are on this video and are going to see this ahead of tomorrow. When you watch me on Instagram, you'll be like, oh, I was there when Rapper told us this. All right. Thoughts on Ayuk? San Francisco seems like an offensive mess. Yeah, Ayuk is right now a stash. I mean, plain and simple. You're not dropping him. Towns there. Kittle's already been banged up. Debo gets injured every year, so he could be the next Debo. What Debo's doing now, potential's there. Who knows with Trey Lance? Yada, yada, yada. You just can't drop him, period. But I also think you can't start him. So he's a stash right now. Who can I trade for, aim for? I need to ship Julio Jones. I mean, that's not for me to decide. This is what I always tell you guys. All right, I need to make a trading video ASAP. But here's what I tell you guys. Find who you want and go from there. Find who you want and find a owner who could possibly be the receiver. But I'm going to tell you right now, Julio Jones' stock has never been lower, okay? So hopefully there's some good news that he's practicing. You could go off that. But more than likely, when you're trying to sell a player, is because he's shit right now. His value shit. So just like you're trying to sell him, most people don't want him. What you're going to have to do, you're going to have to package him, fluff it up with another, name player that's like, well, that's what you're going to have to do. But the first thing you do is find who you want, and even if it's somebody that you're not going to be able to trade Julio for straight up, you could package Julio in and then get the player you want. Alex Collins and Gainwell. I have to Gainwell right now, but you could get both. DM me, Michael. There's two ways you can win if you comment premium on this video and the next video, or just DM me at Fantasy Football Rapper on Instagram. It's only $15. And yeah. I already have premium, worth it. Just commenting for the algorithm. I do appreciate that. But you guys got to comment when the video is over. Not now. Like in the regular comments. All right. Comment premium on both videos. Today's video, tomorrow's video. I'll pick a winner. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate whether you're purchasing a premium, you just come in here to kick it with me. Appreciate it. If you guys can give me a sub, a like, I'll even appreciate you more. This is kind of like your currency to me. If you can't contribute, I know everybody, money's tight. I get it. Money's tight for me too. But in order for me to continue providing you, because this is a full-time job, I have no other job. My job is just fantasy. That's why I'm able to spew things off the top of my head like that. I literally go back and watch every single game over. That is like 40 hours of my time just watching film, plus making content, plus all the rest of the research and stuff. So a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears goes into this, guys. So definitely appreciate you guys. If Tua comes back, what happens to Gesicki's volume? We'll soon find out. But I rather Jacoby because Gesicki's been on fire. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace. I'm out.